All right, all right, all right. Welcome to another Yapathon. All right, we just had UFC Kansas City fight night. Great card overall for a fight night. It was a very, very good one, which that in a conversation is itself. Anyway, great card. Want to talk about a few things. First off, let's just talk about the main event, right? Our nerd, Carlos Prates, did not get his hand raised. It was a great fight. I loved it. If you saw on my Instagram, I did have Garry to win. I had a feeling in my head it would go one or two ways. Either Garry's style would take over and it would have lent to be a bit more boring, but he's just so technical, and when that goes up against Carlos, I felt like Carlos would have struggled, especially when it got into those later rounds. Like, we haven't seen Carlos go 3 rounds, and this went for 5, I believe, in like 6 years or something like that. So it was a real endurance challenge for him. I'm not sure if his camp had kind of taken that into account and focused so much on that endurance that they didn't focus as much on that early pressure that we're used to seeing. You know, he normally gets those finishes done really quickly and enjoys that cigarette, you know. But that didn't work in his favor. That's not to say the later rounds, like end of the 4th and the 5th, he had opportunities, but didn't take them. So that happened there. The other way it could have gone was if he did, you know, what he normally does in putting on that forward pressure really early and then, you know, somehow getting a finish. But that didn't happen. So props to Garry, you know, short notice fight, got it done. Stocks have gone up. I was actually quite surprised with the odds and how many people, like it was quite even, I believe. But I thought more people would have been on the Prates hype train, but I guess, you know, it was a really big step up. And I do actually believe that Garry is the number one, like, most technical, best fighter that any of the 4 nerds have faced so far. The only competition would be Caio Borralho going up against Jared Cannonier. But, you know, Bryce Mitchell, Bobby Green, I don't think that they're comparable just yet. So, you know, for Carlos Prates to go to that decision with Garry in the way that he did and, you know, get close in those later rounds, definitely props there. But I think there's things to be learnt for Carlos here. And I do also think that the way that he lost, it wasn't the most shocking of methods for him. Like, to me, or I would assume that he'd know in his mind, if I lost, it would be in this way, that kind of thing. But overall, for such a short notice fight for Garry, I thought he looked great. That's 2 short notice fights in a row, and he's also called to be back up for the JDM Bilal fight as well. That is in 2 weeks. So the guy's crazy, but he looked good. I'm not sure you can do what you did today with Bilal or with JDM. Like, I would say Bilal, it's just different styles. We'll break that down if that does, as that Montreal card does come closer. But yeah, they're 2 very different fighters. So overall, I do think that Garry is also in a very interesting position now, because, you know, where does he go from here? We've got Bilal, Shavkat, JDM, now Usman and Buckley has also just been announced as well. Garry is, you know, that Shavkat fight, he lost, but everyone gained a lot of respect for him. So I don't think that that one loss kind of ruined his resume too much. So when you look at what's next for Garry, it's kind of like, well, does he go for Shavkat again? But then everyone says that Shavkat deserves the next title shot. But he's injured, so when will that be? He wants to be quite active. Does he get the winner or loser? Does he get the loser of Bilal, JDM? Or does he get the winner of Buckley, Usman, then get a title shot? Welterweight division, as I've said in my Instagram video, it's in an interesting place right now. Let me know what you guys think is next for Garry. I would like to see, I don't really want to see a Shavkat rematch. Would it be different if Ian Garry had a full camp and Shavkat wasn't injured? Maybe. But I think I would like to see an Ian Garry JDM. That's pretty interesting to me. Or a Buckley. Like, give him a real beast. Yeah, give him a Buckley or a JDM. That's fun. Those are fights that I'd like to see, but I wouldn't be surprised if, we saw him get that title shot soon. Also depends on when Shavkat's coming back. So, yeah. Next for Carlos. That's an interesting one. Should we look at the rankings again? So Carlos Prates was number 13. He just lost to Ian Garry, who's number 7. Okay. So we've got Michael Morales, Stephen Thompson, Jeff Neal, Colby Covington, and Gilbert Burns. Now, the Jeff Neal fight, do we try rearrange that again? That was supposed to be the original matchup. I feel like that makes sense. The Fighting Nerds as a gym, as a name, still has a lot of hype. So I don't really want to see him. Is Michael Page interesting? I don't know. I'd still like to see that Jeff Neal fight. I think it's a good call out. Even Stephen Thompson is a good call out stylistically. I think that karate versus Muay Thai, that could be fun. But yeah, I think Carlos should take some time off. He's been really, really active. I think he should take some time off and we'll see who he comes back with. But the top of these welterweight rankings is really, really interesting. Oh my God, I forgot about Sean Brady. I mean, he's a contender, number 1 contender too. So maybe Ian Garry, Sean Brady. Though Sean Brady shouldn't really have to have another shot, but honestly, ever since I saw, I believe it was a Robert Whittaker video, he was talking about how rankings don't really matter in the UFC. And I so get that, because just look at how things have been going within the last year. Like, anyone can fight anyone. Rankings really do not mean anything. If you're a champion, if you're an interim champion, it really doesn't mean anything, So who knows? Other thing that I wanted to talk about was Anthony Smith and Mingyang Zhang. Anthony Smith retired, unfortunately did not go out in the best way. I'm not going to lie. I get nervous anyway, so that was bound to happen. But as he was walking out and stuff, I was like, Anthony Smith, he's had so many fights that you just never know what could happen with him. I was like, maybe he will get this finish. Maybe he will go out in like an amazing way. What a story it would be if he were to knock Mingyang out. That definitely didn't happen. Mingyang got the first round finish as he has been doing. Extremely, extremely dominant. First round finish, bloody elbows. Smith opened up like crazy and ended up even having a crowd altercation afterwards, which was a bit weird. But yeah, Smith is now retired and Mingyang Zhang is now in those rankings. There's quite a few people for him now that he's in those rankings and things are going to start to get interesting. Will he maintain this first round finish rate? My brain goes to winner of Jamal / Khalil. That's a good one. Carlos, that may be too high. We also have Rakic, Reyes. No, Reyes has been on a winning streak and I feel like he deserves to be in that title picture. Maybe Reyes Mingyang for a contender spot. But then you've got Yuri. And then Carlos is also in the picture too. Oof, this is very, very juicy. I do like that idea though, because they're almost fighting for a contender spot and are on winning streaks, but under different circumstances. Like, Reyes is older. He's been in the game, in the UFC game for a long time now. We've seen him have that title fight and it was really close, had those losses and has come back with finishes, with dominant finishes. So there's no denying that he deserves that shot. He should get that. Reyes himself has said that he'll probably have one more before he gets that title shot. So if you give him Mingyang, who's also on this first round knockout win streak, he is young and is determined to get to that top spot. Like, there's no secret that the UFC often will fast track guys. Like, trying to get into that Asian market. Is that going to be a selling point to get him bigger fights earlier? I do think, obviously we have Wei Li, but the more champs that they can get in different countries, like money countries being China, I think it's a really good sign. Don't want to get like political and economical like that, but let's be realistic. The UFC is a business. I think having Mingyang as a champ could be a really good thing for the UFC. So yeah, that is my breakdown of those co-main and main events of UFC Kansas City. What else was there? We had Aliskerov win. We had Randy Brown win. That was an amazing fight. Michel Pereira, that was not fun to watch. He looked like he concentrated more on learning his walkout choreography that actually got cut off than training for that fight. The two of them looked very, very tired by the end of that third round. Chikadze, that wasn't great to watch. He's in a bit of a weird spot now. Great fight night. Love to see it. My bets came through for Ikram, Mingyang, and Garry. I had Ikram and Garry money line, but I did have Mingyang first round TKO. So that was really, really fun for me to have. Next week, we've got Figgy and Sanhagen. I was going to do a Cooking Without Volk. However, I realized next week I'm going to be in Queensland presenting for Eternal MMA. So I probably won't have time to do that. We'll see how we go this week. Otherwise, I'll do a little lead-up video. Or if not, I'll do a little breakdown video after I watch the card. And then the week after, we've got another Aussie fighting for the title with JDM and Bilal, which is really exciting. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I still love that I've got my separate YouTube community happening. I'll announce this on Instagram when the time's right, but right now I'm just enjoying sitting down, talking to you guys. There's no pressure for me to have a big audience or anything, and everything's organic and we just yap together. So yes, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff. Let me know what kind of content you want to see. Also, I don't know if I've said on here, but I am going to International Fight Week, which, yes, that's another conversation that we do not know who the headliner is. That has not been announced. I will not say anything about that until it has been officially announced. So I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.